Hi, hello there. This is the first video of the OML4Py walkthrough. I'm going to show you how to start this workshop and how to begin running the Oracle Machine Learning for Python hands-on workshop. The first step is to go to Oracle LiveLabs. We have a bit.ly link, go LiveLabs for this. You can search it with Google, or you can just copy it here in your address bar, bit.ly go LiveLabs, which will take you to Oracle LiveLabs portal, our platform for hands-on activities, for trainings. You have a lot of content here you can try on your own. The workshop we are going to run is OML4Py. This is the Oracle Machine Learning for Python workshop we're going to run now. You click it, you search for it, and this is the one, OML4Py. Click launch, and you have multiple options. The first one is to use your own environment to create resources on an always free account, on an always free tenancy. This is the one you get after you complete your trial account request. And for the first 30 days, you get a trial account. And then for the remaining and always, it's going to be available as an always free account. So you will have some resources available forever in Oracle Cloud for free, completely free. And they are limited to a couple of compute node instances and a couple of database, cloud autonomous database instances and something like that. I'm not going to go into the details about the always free account. I'm going to talk to about your own tenancy. So let's say you already have an Oracle Cloud account, a full paid tenancy, and you want to run this workshop on your own tenancy. This is the one I'm going to give as an example. If you don't have a tenancy, you can use the green button here to run this hands-on workshop on LiveLabs provided tenancies. These tenancies are full tenancies, but they have a limitation of a few hours, depending on the duration of the workshop. For example, this workshop is taking about 4 hours to complete. And this is the time you will get this tenancy for, about 4 hours. You can extend the time, but this is also subject to some conditions. So let's say you have your own tenancy and you want to run this workshop on your own tenancy. This is, let's say, the recommended way to run the workshop, because when you finish it, you will still have those resources to continue practicing on Oracle machine learning. And believe me, you won't be able to learn everything about Oracle machine learning in just 4 hours. So you'll need maybe days or weeks of training to understand all the details regarding machine learning models and algorithms, and all the options you have to execute those models to get predictions, to run any different kind of algorithms with different parameters in order to completely understand how machine learning works. So let's go on run your own tenancy. And here we have the guide on how to prepare this environment for Oracle machine learning for Python. Maybe you're already a Python programmer, a Python developer, and you know about Python language, and you would like to experience Oracle machine learning for Python. As usual, when we have a live event or I'm recording, it gets stuck in the middle. This is the live demo effect. Yes, finally. Okay, this is a live demo, no cuts, no mumbo jumbo. So I'm going to show you exactly how it runs from my own perspective, so you know what to expect when to run this kind of workshop on this platform. This is the first part here is the introduction on Oracle Machine Learning for Python. I'm going to leave this for you to read about it, and you have some videos you can watch in order to understand more about it. I'm going to open these instructions in a new tab just to get rid of the frame here, because this is a frame into the LiveLabs portal, which is opening in a smaller window. So I'm going to click this link, open this workshop in a new tab, just to get rid of the frame and have it in my full window screen, the entire content of the guide here. So this is the introduction. I'm going to leave it to you to understand and get more details about Oracle Machine Learning. I'm just trying to go directly through the steps here, just to show you how to start the actual workshop. After you read the OML details, the theory about Oracle Machine Learning, about the algorithms, about the models, about the autonomous database, which has machine learning by default out of the box. You don't have to install anything. It has it with the Apache, well, it's Oracle Machine Learning notebooks, which is based on Apache Zeppelin notebooks, and it is running out of the box. This workshop we are going to run today, it is not based on autonomous database. It is based on an on-premise installation, but running on an infrastructure as a service compute node. I installed this database myself. It is the 21C database, 21.3 database installed on this compute node. And it requires networking, a virtual cloud network to work. And you will be running the OML code, Oracle Machine Learning Python code from Jupyter notebooks. Jupyter notebooks are running on the same compute node instance as the database, as the Oracle database. So we'll need to deploy this resources on Oracle Cloud on our own tenancy in order to run the workshop and run Python code against this database, on-premise database custom installation. We have here getting started. On the left side, you have a menu, and it is very useful. You have a lot of information about how to get the trial account. For example, if you don't have your own tenancy, your own paid tenancy, as I said, you can request a trial account, which will later become on always free account. And then you go to prepare the setup, lab 1. This is the lab where we will we are showing how to deploy the required resources to run this workshop. And the first task is to download the stack file required by Resource Manager on Oracle Cloud to deploy this stack. This stack contains a VCN, a virtual cloud network. You have all the details here, and the compute instance on which the database is installed, the Oracle 21C 21.3 database is installed, and Jupyter notebooks are installed, Python is installed and configured. So you have everything you need to run the Python code. So you just need to access this link here. This is the link to download the zip file for the stack. And once you have it on your computer, you can move. I'm going to switch to my Oracle Cloud infrastructure tab here in my browser. You have developer services and stacks here under Resource Manager. You go to stacks. If I switch to the tab I was using before, you have here the resources, the steps explained explaining how to deploy these resources. So you will deploy compute and networking at the same time. This is the one we're going to use to deploy the full stack. It's just a VCN and the compute node. And it is explained in the lab. So here, if we go to the next step, the next guide, lab guide here, lab 2, environment setup, you'll see here that it is explained how to deploy create stack, compute, and networking. This is task 1A. And everything I'm going to do on the OCI tab, it is detailed here on this page. So I'm going to follow the same steps which are explained here. So I'm going to switch to my stack tab here. And I'm going to say create stack. And you have to specify my configuration. You have to specify zip file, and you browse for the location where you downloaded that file. I'm going to use the OML marketplace free tier zip file. Open it, and this is the complete stack. The name, I'm going to leave the default name here. Description, I'm going to leave it default. And compartment, I'm going to use my compartment. You have to make sure that you use the actual compartment where you want to download to install the resources from this downloaded zip file in your tenancy. And also the region here. I'm going to use Frankfurt region. Everything is explained here step by step. So first you have to specify my configuration and the zip file, and then you choose the file, enter the details about the compute node instance and the options regarding the shape and the CPU count. So I'm going to specify, I'm going to leave this the name and the description as default here. I'm going to click next. Instance count, I'm going to use just one single instance because you just need one single instance to run the OML4Py workshop. I'm going to specify the availability domain. I'm going to use my Frankfurt availability domain number 2. I don't need the remote SSH access, so you don't have to click this option because you don't need it exactly. It's not required for the OML4Py hands-on workshop. I'm going to use flexible instance shapes with one single CPU. And I have here the details about the shapes. And if you need remote SSH, which it is not required in this case, you'll have to provide an SSH key. It explains here how to do it, or to choose a public key file. And then the shape, what kind of shape you can choose. You can choose any shape you have available. With just one single CPU is enough for this workshop. So you don't need a big shape for this compute node. And you don't have to use an existing VCN. You can create a new one because there are some requirements for the network access for this workshop. So I advise you to create a new one. So don't choose the existing VCN option here. So I'm going to click next here. And this is the information about the resources I'm going to deploy. And the step, in the last step, I have to select run apply here to create the stack. So let me click run apply and then create stack. Now, if I selected this checkbox here, run apply, it means that the resources are actually deployed on my cloud tenancy. And I have to wait for these resources to be created by Terraform, by the Terraform script. Here I have more steps explaining the Terraform script execution, and how to check the logs. For example, here I have some logs going to be loaded right now. I can see the variables used by the script itself. Here I have the variables. In my case, the region, the tenancy, OCID, and in the logs, I can see exactly what is going on my tenancy while these resources are being deployed. I can show also the timestamps, the exact date and time when each line in the log has been added. So the duration of the deployment in this case is about 4 minutes, 3 or 4 minutes. It deploys a virtual cloud network with all the rules required to connect via remote desktop to the compute node, and the actual compute node on which we have installed all the packages you need for the Python code execution in Oracle database using Oracle machine learning algorithms running inside the database in Oracle database. So I'm going to click stack details. These are the details of the stack here. The name of the stack, some stack information, and the jobs. This is the job which is currently running to deploy the stack on my tenancy. And the variables, again, work requests. I still don't have any work requests because I didn't do any management on the stack, which is just being deployed right now. I can click on the job, and here I can see that the job is still in progress. And in the meantime, I'm going to show you what is going to be the next step of the workshop. So here we explain the Terraform script and the resource manager, which is using this Terraform script to deploy the resources. You can click on the name of the section, and you can watch the video to understand how this works using Terraform Resource Manager in your own OCI, Oracle Cloud Infrastructure tenancy to deploy full stacks. And then we show some troubleshooting tips in case you get any errors, how to check the log and how to see exactly what went wrong on your deployment. And we have a lot of information here in this section regarding troubleshooting. In case you have any errors, but usually it works. So in my case, it just succeeded, and I have my stack deployed. And to start with the stack, first let me show you what it has been deployed. So I'm going to networking, or let me show you here in the stack details and job resources. So here you can see the resources that have been deployed by this job. You can see the VCN and a core instance. These are the main resources that we're going to use: the virtual cloud network and a compute instance on which the database is running. The Python code will be executed, and we will use as the interface to connect to the database using Python and run Python Jupyter notebooks. And the VCN has a subnet, an internet gateway, a routing table, security list. It has some more resources included in the VCN. So if you want to check it, you can go to networking, virtual cloud networks, and here you'll be able to see the VCN resource. It has been deployed. This is the VCN resource, OML4Py. This is the one which has been deployed. I'm gonna leave you to check it by yourself. And under compute instances, this is the OML VM instance that has been deployed on using this stack on this stack. So this is the everything you need to know right now about the workshop resources. So going back to stacks, I'm going to click the stack, and following the instructions here, after the environment setup, you have to initialize it. So expand all yes, I forgot one single environment setup step here. Graphical access the graphical remote desktop. This is task number 3 here. So once the stack is deployed, you go to the stack details, and in application information, you have to copy the URL for the remote desktop connection. So here in application information, I'm on my stack details here, and application information, I have a remote desktop link, and I'm going to copy this link, and I'm going to paste this link in a new tab to connect to my compute node via remote desktop. This is actually the environment I'm going to use to run my OML4Py workshop. So this is the compute node I was just talking about. And here I have the same workshop guide available directly on the VM itself. So I was using the environment setup here. This was the section I was on my previous tab, and that the next step is to initialize the environment. So let's see what we are supposed to do. So first, we are supposed to check if everything is running properly on this VM, and then the second step is to start Jupyter notebooks, which is going to be the interface to run our Python code on the Oracle Database 21c with Oracle Machine Learning support. So we have to run this start Jupyter sh script, which is in the bin folder of the Oracle operating system user. I'm going to open a terminal here, and I'm going to run start Jupyter sh. It is executable by default, and it is already in the bin folder of Oracle operating system user. You just need to type and execute the name of the script, the shell script. And this is the Jupyter interface. So we have all the notebooks, and in this workshop we have 2 notebooks. One is the first section of the lab. We separated this lab in 2 sections: the first section, part 1, and the second section, part 2, because it is a longer lab. Actually, it is about 8 hours to finish for an unexperienced user. And part 1 is what we consider to be mandatory for someone to understand just a little bit of the Oracle machine learning technology. And it's about 4 hours to run. This is the mandatory. And optionally, if you use your own tenancy and you have this stack deployed on your own account, you can further improve your knowledge about Oracle machine learning by running the optional labs and exercises in part 2. This is the optional part of the workshop. But at least run part 1. If you run part 1, maybe you'll have a basic understanding about Oracle machine learning for Python and how it works. So I'm gonna double click the title of the web browser here, just to make this section, this browser, about half the size of my desktop here, just to show you the lab guide on the left. I can hide this, put it here, and Jupyter notebooks on the right at the same time. Let me see if I can drag this window, make it a little bit wider. Okay, so this is how I usually do it. I have my labs on the left and the Jupyter notebooks on the right. If you have a bigger screen, I have just a laptop, a normal Mac laptop, and I have a small screen here. But if you have a bigger screen, maybe you can have multiple screens, and you can place your windows in a different configuration. So the next step is to understand the data set. And I'm going to leave this step for the next video. Thank you very much.